War Eagle Auburn family members, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. Always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we might get into. On this impromptu live stream, we're going to be planning to talk about Zach Calzada, former Texas A&M quarterback, deciding to join Auburn football and its quarterback roster. Some breaking news this afternoon. It is a Thursday afternoon, roughly like 3, 4 o'clock, depending on where you are time zone wise. And we're going to be discussing the breaking news of that, implications, just initial reactions, obviously mainly mine since I'm here on camera for you guys, but I will be posting some of your comments and questions as we go throughout the stream here. No set amount of time, just trying to get an initial reaction out there from myself and you guys about this news out there. Let's see what you guys are saying. Those of you that know the drill, have been here before, make sure you post where you're watching from, city, state, international with a War Eagle, and smash that like button if you can. It does help the stream out. If you're watching on Twitter and Facebook, we encourage you to come over to YouTube. A little bit better setup, but you can watch it over there if you'd like, but please do share it out in Facebook groups and things like that. I already see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of people joining the stream, and I knew this was kind of be one of those streams where it's going to get a little crazy, a little bit, hard to keep up with everybody's comments, and we'll see what everybody's saying. There's a lot of mixed reviews out there. Just remember, everybody, this is now a member of your Auburn family, so let's be supportive as we can. If you've got some issues with it, we can certainly address them. But right now, it's a little bit of I think I wouldn't call it shocking news, but I would call it surprising, the way it happened and the rate with which it happened, because there was initial reports that yesterday, or this week at least, Zach Calzada was on campus. You'd expect that, right? He's going to weigh all his options. But for him to commit so quickly tells you something about the way he's feeling about Auburn, the way they feel about him, and maybe some other implications as to why he committed so quickly as well. All right, let's say hello to a couple of people. We got Kevin Kelly here. Good to see you. Casey's here. We got Rise Life, Wes Davis, got to Money, Scoot. Who else is here? Rob says, boom, good to see you. James Barnett, War Eagle from Huntsville, one of our channel members. We got Whit watching on Facebook. Thanks for being here, Whit. Devin from Texas. We got James on Facebook. Lots of people all over the place. And of course, you can't forget my good friend Clint Richardson of the Auburn Uniform Database. We got KJ here. Lots of good people here already assembled in the chat, and we'll try to get to some of your comments and questions. All right. So here's what I want to know from everybody initially that's watching. And you can do this even if you're watching on the replay. Do you like it? Yes or no? A lot of you have already typed that, but you can go ahead and type that right now. Yes or no. We'll get into why you don't like it or why you do like it in just a little bit. I just want to kind of gauge the room, and let's see exactly who kind of falls in line where. Yes or no. Post that in the comment section right now if you can. Tyler says bid pickup. Anyway, I'd start running the Tyler's one of my friends, so he's posting nonchalantly things that don't even apply to the stream on there, just trying to get me to post them. That's what they do. It's like a game they play with themselves over there. Gray says not a huge fan yet. We got a no, we got an N, we got a yes, we got a kinda. Let's see. Yes, he's a passer. Well, yes, I would hope so. No. We need an O-line since we didn't pick up a dual. Well, Bo Nix was a dual threat quarterback, and a lot of that wasn't his fault. And it didn't really make that much of a difference except for a handful of few games there. Warzone YouTube channel win. You don't want to be on. We don't need to be on a Warzone YouTube channel with the mess that we do when we all play together. Greg says this was not good on any account. Should have waited to see what happens with UGA's quarterback room after the title game. So, it's really intriguing because I will say, just, this is a reaction show trying to get initial thoughts and stuff out here. I do plan to do a separate video probably tomorrow. I don't traditionally do edited videos on Friday unless the news warrants it, and I think this warrants it. I do want to take some time and really think through this and weigh out pros and cons and try to figure out, whether I do like this or not. My initial impressions is yes, I love bringing anybody into the Auburn family. A weapon it's kind of the same thing I said with TJ Finley last year. Um, any competition makes the quarterback room better. It's just the fact of the matter. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying that Zach Calzada has just won the starting job, but I'm also going to have to recognize the fact that he is the most accomplished just in terms of experience, what he's done at Texas A&M now in the room. So let's take stock of who's in the room. You got Demetrius Davis, obviously the freshman, redshirt freshman this year. Well, he'll be a redshirt freshman next year. You got Holden Grenier coming in this year as a freshman, will probably likely not transfer, redshirt. Now you got TJ Finley, who's a transfer from LSU. He's already used up his one-time transfer thing, so he's going to have to really consider his options, unless I have that incorrectly, whether he stays here, fights for the job, and accepts the backup role again if he loses it, or wins the starting job. And same thing for Calzada. Once you use that transfer thing, it's kind of up, over, and done with. So that's kind of the layout of the room. Let's see what else you guys are saying in here. Let's see here. Casey, again, you are the master of hyperbole. Just because someone looks good somewhere else doesn't mean they look good here. Caleb Williams is not a guarantee for the promised land. If that was the case, Oklahoma would be in the playoff, and they weren't this year. Demetrius Davis is a dual threat quarterback, and you would think that would favor, especially with some of the offensive line struggles that we've had. But I will counter with you, as much as I'm a fan of Bo Nix, even his prowess at scrambling and stuff wasn't able to overcome some of the deficiencies in that area a lot. Cleveland says, nice. Devin says, haven't seen him play much, so I don't know much about him. But hey, if the coaches picked him up, then they must have something. And I like Devin's perspective on this, because I think a lot of us need to adopt this. Trust the coaching staff. And, I know there's still a little bit of division within the fan base over Coach Harsin with the transition from Malzahn, but also with the results of this year. There's a lot of harsh feelings. But at some point, you got to stop, fretting so much about the decisions that you don't like, because we all fretted about Cornelius Williams getting fired, the wide receiver coach. And yet, lo and behold, it obviously was the right choice to do at the time. And I loved Cornelius Williams, but yeah. Rob has a great point here, and I think I've already said it. If anything, this will make TJ better. So don't count out, TJ, Demetrius Davis, Holden. Coach Harsin, if you watch when he talks about Holden, he's very excited about him. But just because he's excited about him doesn't mean that's going to be this year. He's excited about his future. Any competition makes the room better. Greg says Calzada wasn't going anywhere and no one was heavily pursuing Calzada. Should have paced this one better. So what would have been a good time frame for you, Greg? Because, the longer you sit there with decisions, the longer it takes for other potential commits, transfers to sign up. The longer you sit there with, it's kind of the same thing with the whole offensive coordinator thing, right? From all we could tell, there was no movement being made, but lo and behold, behind the scenes, it was already handled. I disagree with you that a lot of people weren't pursuing Calzada. If that was the case, then he wouldn't even put his name in the transfer portal. You don't throw yourself in the transfer portal when you're a high-profile player like he has been, and he is, without having some idea of who wants you or who has some interest in you. And so just because Caleb Williams is the sexy hire, hire in the sense of NIL, right? Doesn't mean that Zach Calzada is any less. BVK, there is obviously the risk of Demetrius Davis transferring. So if I can kind of peel back initial reactions here, a lot of the animosity towards this commitment and the desire to allow that commitment by the coaching staff is there's a lot of affinity towards Demetrius Davis, but we haven't even seen him play yet. And he hasn't been able to beat out TJ Finley. folks, I get it. I'm excited. I want to see him someday too. But just because he looks good on his tape in high school doesn't mean that he's going to be good on the field. Zach Calzada has actually been on the field and has beaten the best. I mean, he's one of two quarterbacks now in college football to beat Alabama. Bo Nix and Zach Calzada. That's it. And that's not the end all be all, obviously, of college football, but they are year in and year out pretty much the best by most cases. So you kind of want somebody who's been there and done that with some experience. If we fix the O-line and get some decent receiver play, offense could be dangerous. It could be, obviously. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. You got to fix that offensive line at this point, though. Best thing to do is let Holden be the one and take our bumps and bruises as a freshman. Well, we did that with Bo, and everybody lost their minds when he wasn't like magical after his first season. So don't know that I really want to go through that again. I'm fine if Holden, I'm fine with whoever gets the quarterback job. But here's the thing, everybody's panicking, thinking that he's going to be immediately the starter. I think the logic would take you there that he's going to probably be the starter just based off experience and if he handles himself well in practice. But he's still got to go out there and win the job. Nothing's handed to anybody with Coach Harsin. We've known that for sure. Let's see. Witt says, love that Calzada beat Bama and could come here, continue the trend. Now, here's the important thing, too. We've already seen this happen once with this whole transfer cycle with Dylan Gabriel committing to UCLA and then immediately to change his mind before he even got to class and going over to the Oklahoma Sooners. So I don't know. Listen, it could be a situation here where we need to wait till he's actually like on campus in classes, which start next week. So you'll probably have your answer if it's official then. But at this moment, it really looks official. Tyler says he likes Zach, came in big against Bama. A&M was better than Auburn last season. He's shown he's ready for the number one QB spot. He definitely has that experience to back him up. Bankroll. I will agree with you. By and large, this does seem to be, and I'm not trying to. There's a balance here where we try to have a discussion, but also I know it kind of feels like for some of you that aren't having a favorable reaction to this, and I'm not even saying that I have a favorable reaction to this, but I'm trying to play both sides. Feels like we're picking on you. But there is a certain segment of the fan base that's just always down in the dumps. That's always, the sky is falling. Oh, this was a terrible decision. And I agreed. There's a certain point where it's not where you have to be satisfied, but you have to be able to kind of reconcile with what's going on. And maybe, just maybe, you might be wrong. Maybe. I don't know yet. Auburn is pacing. Don't be surprised if they take two quarterbacks from the portal. Rob, I'll be honest here. The people that I talk to, sources, actually been very quiet the last couple of weeks. And so I haven't gotten any really heads up about this or anything like that, which I think goes to show you as well. There hasn't been a lot of definitive information out there to share. I don't foresee us going after another one. But if that were to happen, I think Calzada would turn around and leave, or TJ Finley would leave or something like that. I don't really foresee that personally. I believe Calzada is a redshirt sophomore. Yes, I think so. He'll be coming in as a junior, which would give you, if he has a great year next year, he can go to the draft right away. He can actually go this year, I think, technically, if he's a redshirt sophomore. And then open it up for somebody else. I think that's the thing that people are missing here, is that just because someone comes in doesn't mean they're going to be the quarterback after next season. Greg, I don't know that I'm going to be able to convince you today, buddy. It seems like you're kind of dead set on not liking this one at this moment. But we'll try our hardest. Larry says, I trust Harsin, the new OC. No relation, which is, yeah. Quarterback development will be supercharged. Well, listen, I'm also on the other side of the equation. I'm not just going to assume because a coach is brought in that everything's going to be hunky-dory and great, especially right away. It's not. If that was the case, Cornelius Williams would still be here. If that's the case, Bo would still be here. If that's the case, Big Cat Bryant would still be here. Listen, things there's a little bit of rub that has to happen, and Auburn fans need to come to grips with that. It's going to be a little bit of change and stuff like that. Kevin says that Demetrius Davis is not leaving. He has reiterated that time and time again. I will say he's been tested in that area time and time again. And, have to ask the question of when has he been tested too much with his loyalty for Auburn? I hope not, but you just never know. Let's see. Anyone seen Demetrius Day? Kind of what I said earlier. So I think David, David, I don't know you well enough to know if you mean this in a good way. I'm going to assume you mean this in kind of a shot at Bo, because I think that's the way most people take it. But forgive me if I'm misinterpreting what you say there. But he is Bo 2.0 because he's one of the only quarterbacks to beat Alabama. He's number 10. He's not a super mobile quarterback, but he can move a little bit, and he's tough. He came back in that Alabama game. I was watching that live. I will share this with you, and this to play the other side, as I try to do in some of these conversations, so I'm not just an echo chamber here, is I had a conversation, and I've referenced this a lot on our live streams if you've been part of our channel for quite some time, about me having that conversation with the Georgia fans after the game, sitting in Chick-fil-A in Auburn, waiting for the traffic to that end, and asking them about Bobo. Is this what we can expect? And don't have to worry about that anymore. We also talked about Zach Calzada, and apparently they live up somewhere in the direction of where I live and knew of him and said, yeah, they did. They were glad that he didn't end up at Georgia. But that was then. This is now. Things change. He was a 3-star rated in. I think a lot of people also don't like the fact that a 3-star could outshine his ranking and kind of, again, add to the narrative that I build, that stars and rankings don't matter. Cue the anger right now. Ooh, that gets so many people fired up that you have the audacity to question stars and rankings. As Kyle said before, Harsin will put the best quarterback on the field. Trust the coaches more than we do ourselves. That's for dang sure. That is for absolute dang sure. We always root for the backup. I think it's not exclusive to Auburn. It's just a, thing. Sawyer Pate coming through in the clutch. Yeah, I mean, sure. If we get to the point where Sawyer Pate is the guy, I'm going to be a little bit concerned. Thomas, good to see you, my friend. He's smoking chicken thighs in Leeds, Alabama. I know this is an unconventional stream time for a lot of our regulars, but this is why I tell you, be subscribed, hit the notification bell to all, not just marketing. You got to hit it all so you never miss a live stream, because you never know when news is going to break. And pretty much you could just look, news breaks for Auburn. You probably need to check and make sure we're not going live. If I'm able to, I will. Quay, I think is how you say this. I want to see Demetrius Davis get a chance. I understand that. And Demetrius Davis has had a chance, and he will continue to get a chance. The best player will play. The player who comes prepared, who does the right things in practice, and who proves that he gives Auburn the best opportunity to win the game will be the starting quarterback. It doesn't matter if it's Sawyer Pate. It's not going to be Sawyer Pate, but it doesn't matter if it's him, TJ Finley, Zach Calzada, Holden Grenier. Doesn't matter. He will put the best person out there who checks all those boxes. The Calzone. Here's a little quick plug for an Auburn business. I think it's I'm trying to remember their name. Something Calzones. It's in downtown Auburn. If they are not making a calzone named after him, they need to. I'm doing work for you right now for that business. You need to be contacting him for the NIL deal. Done. Get that thing done already. Duke says this is the best thing that could have happened for Auburn. He has just enough mobility and can throw a deep ball. Say it with me. Touchdown, you said Javarius. It's Javarius Johnson. I'm not going to be the grammar Nazi here, but it threw me off a little bit there. Yeah, he does seem to have a little bit of mobility. He has had an injury this year too, so that could be a little concerning for the future. He has shown the ability to throw the deep ball a little bit, which is what a lot of Auburn fans want to see. So, yeah, there's a lot of upsides. There's a lot of things you could probably be concerned about as well. This is why this is just our initial reaction show, just talking to. I've got some stats and stuff pulled up if we want to talk about some of those, but really right now just focusing on you guys and what you're saying about this. Let's see. Bobby says, I feel like we're upset just because we didn't get Williams. Yeah, that's it. There's two reasons why most of the dissension is happening about this decision, this commitment, is Demetrius Davis and Caleb Williams. That's the two things. There's one sect that's convinced that Demetrius Davis is the next best thing since sliced bread, which he may be. And if he's the best out there, he'll play. And that Caleb Williams was the next best thing since the sliced bread of Demetrius Davis. Doesn't mean it's true, though. Is Auburn done at quarterback now? Well, a lot of people were saying earlier that potentially they might go for two. I just don't see a world where you bring in someone and keep both of them. So I would imagine this is the decision that they're comfortable with. If I hear anything different, you'll know. All the Pate hate. Sad thing is that people aren't hating on Pate, but yeah. Let's see. Truck says has 9 INTs. Let's look. He does. So games played. I'm trying to look for games played. I'm guessing it's probably one game or two games in 2019. 50% completion taught Kyle percentage in 2019. He obviously redshirted for 2020. In 2021, this past season, 184 completions for 329 attempts, 56.1 percentage. He had 2,000 yards, 6.7 per carry, per pass. Touchdowns was 17 and 9 interceptions. So for every touchdown pass, he throws an interception. That's this year. Maybe it'll get better. His rating is an average of 123.7 on QBR and stuff like that. Let's see what everybody else is saying here. Christy's husband, aka Stan. You change your name all the time, always throws me off. I'm happy with the announcement. I think he raises the floor for the QB room. He might even raise the ceiling, depending on Demetrius Davis in our new signee. Tom says, I think it might be a special year for Auburn. I hope so as well. I would be a little realistic, though, and realize we're still in the transition. Well, I wouldn't call this a transition period. I'd call this a foundation lane year. It's probably this next one coming up. And that can be a really good foundation lane year, but still a lot of things being worked out. Thomas, great perspectives. Don't care who it is. Just go out there and win. Witt says he was not the starter, so he was thrown into that role at the beginning of the season. Let him prepare as a starter, and he should improve. That's a good thought and a good perspective there. But hey, coming in as not in the start of the season and coming into that role, as you said, beating Alabama, who is in the national championship game, dicing up that defense, doing a pretty decent job playing hurt, showing heart, showing courage. You know, there's a lot to like in Zach Calzada if you're willing to let yourself like it. But if you're just wanting to be mad about it, I can understand, I guess, why do you want to do that? But part of me also can't understand. Deontay welcomes the quarterback competition. The best quarterback will win. Great perspective there. Now, this isn't really related to the quarterback announcement of Zach Calzada. But, you know, obviously, I think some of these type of questions, like who's offensive linemen coming in, wide receivers coming in. I was talking with some friends earlier, and they were asking some similar questions and saying, okay, well, did we bring in Zach Calzada to answer the question of a lot of these who am I going to be receiving the ball from? Who am I going to be snappy to? Who am I going to be protecting? That type of situation. It could absolutely be part of the equation, and I would imagine it is. I think Auburn probably would like one more wide receiver transfer if just no really reason. I kind of talked about it in my video today about it, but I think that's an option. I think offensive line wise, that's probably playing into it as well. So there's a lot still in play here. Neil, I agree. See, I thought this week, put the bowl game to bed. It was going to be nice and easy. Everybody's going to have a chill time. Nope. Here we are talking about something else crazy, and I'm just at this point, I need to be sitting on pins and needles, ready for the next big news announcements drop, because somebody talked about it earlier. That whole defensive line coach situation is going to get figured out as well. Let's see here. Looking in here, good bourbon makes my head spin. Interesting comments now. So if you had to say, let's play both sides of the coin here. If you had to say the one pro for Zach Calzada coming in as an Auburn quarterback, whether he starts or not, what is that? Post that now in the comments section. I want to see what you guys say in terms of that, and be honest, but don't just use this time to gripe and say the only pro is that, but what's your one pro? We're going to do the cons here in a second. I just want to see what people think about what could be possibly the good things of him being here and being part of the team. I think there are plenty of that. Stan says he can't wait for all the pieces to fall into place so I can get some sleep. One pro, quarterback composure. There's a good one there. Competition raises the floor. That's another good one. Two really good thoughts right off the bat. I agree with those. I would say experience would be mine. Room is full. There's another thing. If you're waiting for everything to calm down, just to settle down so we can all breathe with this whole thing. Game manager, smart with the ball. Coming in the spring. See, look, we're all coming up with great pros here. Those are the great pros of this thing. I think someone brought it up earlier. Has enough mobility to counter probably where we're going to be having a new offensive line-ish growing and playing together. Physical, mental toughness, can move in the pocket. Shouldn't be too much of a drop off from Bo. At this moment, I wouldn't consider a drop off or a raise in level of competition with him, just because we don't know how he's going to mesh with our team and anybody else. All right, let's do the other side of the equation. Everybody who's in favor of this, especially, be honest. If you had to say a con about Zach Calzada coming to Auburn, what would that be? What would be the con to Zach Calzada coming to be your quarterback at Auburn? We can be honest about it. We can talk about it and be fair. The only way you get experience is if you play. I want to see Demetrius Davis play. Again, Imani, I would counter to you that if he had earned the right to play, he would be out there. And that doesn't mean he's not putting in the effort. It doesn't mean he hasn't tried. Let me put it to you this way. I was a walk-on at AUM. I went out and practiced harder than anybody every day. Every day. I guarantee you that I beat most of the guys in sprints every day. I, went out every chance I got. I gave my heart and soul, but I still didn't play. Because the guys were better than me, but I hadn't done everything, proved to the coach that I was going to be the best option for our team to win out there. If I had done that, I would have been out there. It's the same concept here. Let's see here. The puns just write themselves, don't they? Yes, there's a con. Completion percentage, haven't seen adjusted. Yeah, I could see that. It's a 50% is kind of a little bit concerning. The ratio of touchdowns to interceptions can be a little concerning. Bo didn't throw a lot of interceptions. I mean, it's not blaming him, but it didn't seem to matter all that much for this team, So I think that concerns the team coaches a little bit less than it does us. Never liked a kid named Zach. Need weapons, O-line. Certainly not a finished and polished product. He looks sloppy against us. Yes. He's afraid to compete for his job. I'm going to be nice. If he was afraid of competition, he wouldn't be coming to Auburn. Sometimes it's just better for you to move off into the sun. Bo wasn't afraid of competition. If that was the case, he wouldn't be going to Oregon, where there's a lot of good quarterbacks over there. I think one less now. Just because someone leaves doesn't mean they're afraid of competition. It means that a lot of people don't know, but he's from Georgia. probably be nice in your last year or two to be closer to your family for you to see them play against a team that maybe gives you a better opportunity to play more. Interceptions, that's a good one there. Decent Band-Aid, but still a Band-Aid. I agree, Thomas. So that's always my concern with transfers of any kind, is that it's a Band-Aid that can rip off and you never let the wound heal. It's why after Cam Newton, you saw the drop-off, okay? Doesn't mean that's going to happen this time, but it is something that we all need to recognize as part of the pro and con conversation of this thing of why the Zach Calzada thing may not work. Oh, look, there's a Zach. 50-50 at forcing passage, which is a big no-no. Needs to work on consistency. I think we're all going to be doing that. The Calzone jokes just write themselves. And Deontay, if he's a great backup quarterback, awesome. See, that's the thing that people miss with the whole TJ thing. Even if TJ did not beat out Bo. I felt great when TJ came into the game because I knew we weren't going to have a humongous drop-off, if any. And he proved that in Georgia State. I know it was Georgia State, but we were in a pretty dicey situation there. He came in with a very bad hand in the end of the year and was serviceable. There wasn't a humongous drop-off. Did he play well enough to prove that he is the best starter? Probably not, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's harder to have that conversation about Demetrius Davis and Holden Grenier. Holden, it's easier not to because he's just getting here, but Demetrius has been here 2 years now. So I understand the frustration, but you have to trust the coaches. He didn't commit to AU to be a backup. It's the same thing with TJ, but it didn't work out for TJ. So yeah, Dennis says that he's trusting Austin Davis. I think so. I will trust, but I'm not convinced just right off the bat, just because he came from the NFL, that he's going to be the answer for all our quarterbacks. And I get it. I think our assessment of his caliber is just subjective at this point, and it feels a little early, right? I can understand that. But you have to trust the coaches, and you have to understand that there's more things at play than we have in the information here. A backup with experience is better than one without, no matter if it's Finley, Davis, or Calzada. I think those are great perspectives to have there. All right, we're not going away just yet, but we're going to wrap up here in just a little bit. But I want to give you a couple of reminders. So get some questions and comments in here towards the end of the show. Reminders for you. If you haven't, please do make sure you smash that like button. It does help this stream out. If you can as well, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're going to be probably announcing a little subscriber giveaway coming up soon. Little fun thing for us when we probably get to 2,500. So make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell. It's the easiest way when we announce that to already be entered in on that. Check out the links in the description. You can become a channel member here on YouTube, or you can go over to patreon.com/E2C Network and join up as a Booster Club member. Several of you already here. We've already recognized several of you. So whether you're a channel member, a Booster Club member, or both, thank you guys so much for supporting us here. There's also other ways in the description to help support. But the easiest thing is just to be here and smash that like button. All right, let's get back to some comments and questions here before we start rounding out our show. Holden looked pretty good in the UA game. It's been really hard to find information about that game I wanted to actually do a video this week, but they weren't putting out. I couldn't find the video. I know it's out now, but other things that happened in that time frame. So I really probably should go sit down and look at his stuff. But again, high school competition tape. It's the same thing with Demetrius Davis. You don't think he's going to have a big impact in terms of starting or in terms of if he, not being a starter? My commentating is great. Well, if you mean that sincerely, thank you. But I don't know why you would say that because that's not true. Holden started in 2023. If you listen to Coach Harsin, he likes him a lot. You could see where that would be a thing. Calzone stuffed crust, Finley barbecue, don't matter. E2C for life. Love it. Love it. James says a lot of fans may disagree, but I would love to see what our current quarterbacks can do. Harsin has bought into Austin Davis, another QB, as an analyst, along with him being an offensive coach. Rob is now a channel member. Thank you, sir. You're the bomb for becoming a channel member. Dennis, I have not looked at that a whole lot, to be honest with you. This was more my concern. So we'll probably start getting some more information about those type of situations coming up very soon. Yes, you are, sir. You are now a channel member, which is great. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I would agree that's probably a reasonable concern to have about him being accurate. But that's last year. Let's see what happens with another year under his belt. He's played in the toughest conference and the toughest division. But yeah. Let's see here. Any last minute comments and questions that you guys have about this topic before we round out on the day? Getting some weird little spammy comments in there that we have to address from time to time because they're just weird. All in all, if I had to kind of round out my thoughts about this, I'm not ready to make a definitive yes or no. I think this is a good decision. I'm also not ready to say that he would be the starting quarterback. Probably going to take the day to think about it. I'll probably do a video tomorrow, maybe just kind of breaking down the decision, what it means for each player. But we've kind of talked about through a lot of this here. And as much as, I know you guys come here to watch this, you guys help me a lot. It's a two-way street. Kind of process all these things, think through these things, talk through these things. And just because we may agree or disagree doesn't mean that I don't take those things into account. Jack, I think we should not count the 2019 year because it's just a small sample size, but you can count for against 2021 against him or for him because that's a fair assessment work there. Oh, and Rob's now doing the super sticker. That is way too much money, sir, but you are super generous. Thank you so much, sir. That is way too kind. I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you guys so much for being here on an impromptu live stream, whether you watched here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of those things. You were a great crowd tonight with great comments. We'll have more to talk about on this topic in the coming days. So stay tuned, be subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. Thank you for tuning in to the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks. War Eagle.